Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Coffee Talk in the Athletic Training Room, giving you the news and notes from around the athletic training profession and getting into things that really matter. First of all, thank you very much to our sponsors of the Athletic Training Room Facebook group. Of course, BSN Essity, bringing you Coach Tape. Their sports medicine division, Actimove, is the trusted name in sports injury care and prevention. As the supplier and manufacturer of Coach Tape, Elasticon, Zonus, and other industry-leading products, Actimove empowers athletes and active individuals to perform at their best while staying protected. Visit actimove.us to learn more about their full range of reliable, high-quality sports medicine solutions that keep you moving forward. Trust Actimove to provide the support you need to stay in the game. Actimove, trusted for a reason. By Firefly Recovery. Firefly Recovery, your trusted partner in your journey to wellness. Whether you're an athlete looking for optimal performance or someone seeking relief from daily discomfort, Firefly Recovery provides cutting-edge solutions to accelerate your recovery and reduce pain. Visit recoveryfirefly.com to explore how their innovation technology can help you recover faster and feel your best. Illuminate your path to recovery with Firefly. And of course, our newest sponsor, who will be joining us next month officially, but we wanted to go ahead and welcome them, Sway Medical. Be on the lookout for more for Sway Medical within the athletic training room and on our podcast, as they are an industry leader in concussion management. And you can check out swaymedical.com for more information on them. But like I said, be on the lookout for more from them. Thank you very much, guys, for being on board and for your support of athletic training. So last week we talked about we had our exclusive live stream show. This one will be live streamed and available anywhere you get your podcasts and repeats, as well as on YouTube, obviously within the Athletic Training Room Facebook group. And so in this week, I wanted to kind of expand on that a little bit and talk about, first of all, that topic last week was advocation for the profession, what's going on in the profession, why are people leaving the profession. We got into a whole bunch of different things. Nothing against what the NATA is doing or not doing, because the bottom line is the NATA is not a union, and so they can advocate for us as much as possible, but it's up to us as a member-led organization. It's up to each of us to advocate for ourselves, and not take jobs that are not beneficial or conducive to our health and wellness as from a work-life balance standpoint, but also not jobs that are going to be stressful for our mental health or that put our athletes at risk of no fault of our own. And that's the part I want to talk about a little bit today. It was about 4 years ago this occurred, and to be honest with you, I was going to talk about more injury stuff today, and I read an article last night on ESPN. To be honest, it just kind of made me angry, for lack of a better word, and so I wanted to address it here. I thought it was a good piggyback off of last week's episode. If you had a chance to join us, I'm really glad that you did. But I think it comes down to advocating for ourselves, but it also comes down to why some athletic trainers are leaving the profession and the respect factor that we discussed last week. How much is that a factor in your ability to stay in the profession and you looking for a job? We're currently live on Facebook. We're currently live on Instagram. Hey everybody, on at Athlete Advise, streaming live, and so I comments and let me know how much is the respect that you get, not only from your administration or from the physicians or other people in sports medicine or from your athletes, but how much is the respect from your respective coaching staffs and the autonomy to do your job the way you have been educated to do your job, trained to do your job. How much is that a factor in either taking or keeping a job or even staying in the profession in general? How much of it is that a factor of being in or out of college athletics? How much is that a factor in being in professional athletics for you? How much of an issue have you had with that? Because the article I read yesterday detailed 4 years ago a physician, a doctor being fired from Penn State in 2019. So almost 5 years ago now. And after the firing, he filed a lawsuit against the then athletic director of Penn State. These are factual things. You can look these up. And they he filed a lawsuit against the then athletic director of Penn State and current head coach James Franklin, who was also the head coach then, of course, and had had a long tenure there and a lot of success on the football field. Ohio State and Michigan notwithstanding. And so that itself is old news. But the article came out yesterday that during testimony of this trial that's happening for this lawsuit, there was another doctor who came out and essentially corroborated the story in his own words and through other examples of the initial filer. So the initial filer was Dr. Scott Lynch, and basically he corroborated the fact that there were issues with Coach Franklin attempting to interfere with medical decisions. Let me just read. This is from the Daily Item online. I initially got this. This was published today online. I'm sorry, it was published yesterday online. I saw it initially on ESPN. I'm sure this is all over the place. You can find these articles pretty much everywhere just by Googling. Essentially, this testimony corroborates what the initial claim was, which was that Coach Franklin was interfering with the ability to make medical decisions, was trying to influence medical decisions, and therefore the original physician who filed the suit was fired because of it. Now, this doctor has come out and basically testified that there were multiple times that he said that Coach Franklin attempted to interfere with medical decisions by team doctors and trainers. This is coming from the article by John Luciu. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, from penlive.com. And this is on the Daily Item website. Again, I saw this initially on ESPN. This article states that this interference, and I quote, "This interference included a player who attempted self-harm, according to this doctor who was testifying yesterday, who served as the primary care team physician during Coach Franklin's early years as head coach, and he is no longer with the Penn State football team and practices out of state." This player was receiving treatment in a short-term facility, a psychiatric care facility, when this doctor testified that Coach Franklin and then athletic director Sandy Barber wanted the player medically disqualified for the team. So now, for those who are unfamiliar with medical disqualification rules or who haven't worked in college, it can be complicated. And this is not the first instance of a coach looking to medical DQ somebody in order to get a roster spot back. I think that the circumstances surrounding this obviously make it a lot more impactful, but it brings more to light. And first of all, let me just say that the fact that this has been going for 4 years and like this has been basically not talked about seems to be a problem, especially when it is an ongoing struggle for us as clinicians to make these medical decisions with a coach, particularly at a high-level program looking over our shoulder. It's not like we're sitting in the corner telling them what plays to run on 3rd and 4. So why in the world a coach would dictate medical decisions that they have no training to be making, or dictations to be making, period, is beyond me. And this is why the NCAA put in place the guideline. And we talked last week about how there's guidelines for a lot of things from the NCAA, but the NCAA doesn't have any teeth. But there's a guideline that coaches are not supposed, or athletic trainers are not supposed to directly report to coaches. This is the problem with coaches bringing in their own athletic trainers. We've been having this discussion for years. Is there seems to be a conflict of interest there, and that's no fault of the athletic trainers. It's just human nature, right? You want to be loyal to the people who are giving you the platform on which to stand. And so I think that, so therefore, for people not familiar with medical DQ and how that works, if he was medical disqualified, he would lose his scholarship, and therefore the scholarship could be given to another player who could therefore contribute to the team. This is, which would clearly be a violation of influencing a medical decision. These two physicians refused to medically disqualify the team, or sorry, medically disqualify the player, as basically they were saying it'd be the equivalent of DQing a player with a torn ACL before surgery. You have to let the treatment play out, and if they can't come back, then they can't come back, and that's one thing. But when you're trying to do it while they're still in treatment, that's a bigger problem. And I think that because there's a mental health component here, I think it even highlights it even further. But this is certainly not an isolated thing to mental health concerns. This is also physical. The original physician who filed the suit was fired March 1st, 2019. He was the director of athletic medicine and orthopedic consultant for the football team. And he says he was fired because he didn't allow the coach to interfere with the return to play decisions. So, he also goes on to to say that he said, and I quote, "Coach was trying to get us to release an athlete for return to play. We were being pressured to release the athlete. There was a discussion. Coach was trying to influence medical decisions." So there's really no beating around the bush here. And this is one example. And I'm using this as an example of a broader point here. Athletic trainers are leaving college athletics, and everybody wonders why. And yes, there's a financial component to it, but none of us got into it for money. That was what Bryce and I were talking about last week. None of us got into this for money. If we did, we wouldn't have got into it in the first place. We did it because we love to help people. We did it because we love the return to play component. We love to see people succeed, and we love to be a part of that. We love the excitement that comes with being in a team atmosphere. We love being able to give back to people. It's a service profession and be part of something bigger than ourselves. And yes, it's great when our team wins, but that's not our job. Our job is not to help teams win games. Our job is not to help coaches keep their job. Our job is to keep athletes healthy, period. Full stop. And the fact that this even comes into play is a problem, because this is not the first one. This won't be the last one. And this is a perception that occurs. And I can tell you, this is a perception across Division I athletics and probably beyond that. Is that a reason that a lot of people leave the profession? Yeah, I think so. Is that a reason that a lot of people don't want to go into college athletics? Yeah, I think so. I mean, if you could do your job and not have somebody looking over your shoulder in the clinic or in the industrial setting, and have people that are actually grateful for you being there, why would you do something else? Now, I'm not saying this is all coaches. I've been in plenty of situations in my career at some incredible institutions and some incredible coaching staffs that let me do my job. And we're thankful for me doing my job. And that's fine. And we're not looking for a handout. We're not like, thank you all the time. That's fine. Just let us do our job. Just let us do our job, period. I mean, it's really not the heart of a concept, right? It would be like me working a bit with the baseball team and sitting next to the pitching coach and telling him he has to call a fastball on a 3-1 count. Or, hey, we really need to throw a breaking ball here, right? I mean, I'm not making these decisions. I'm not telling a coach when to pinch hit. I'm not saying we need to run on 3rd and 1 when he's throwing the football. That's not my job. That's not my job on the sideline. That's not my job in the dugout. My job is to keep an athlete healthy. And I've had plenty of battles with coaches about this. I don't understand what you're doing. You don't know what you're doing. This is what I would do. You need to be doing this, this, and then no. Bottom line, point blank period. I'm going to do what I think is medically correct. I had a mentor of mine tell me, coming up and going through my education, and no matter what happens, no matter what anybody says, always do what's medically correct. When it comes down to it, if you're having trouble making a decision, what's medically correct? These doctors did what they felt was medically correct. Doctors are bound by a Hippocratic oath, right? Do no harm. And I think as athletic trainers, we kind of are too. Our job is to allow people to play, is to keep people playing as much as possible, as long as it's safe. But the health and safety of the student athlete or the active person has to come first, period. And the fact that we're still having this discussion in 2024, I mean, let's look for a second at I mean, God forbid we had a situation where somebody died, right? I mean, what would happen if a coach influenced our medical decision and somebody passed away? Right? There's still heat on the Maryland medical staff right now. And I don't want to get into the details about that because I don't know. I don't know the details. I don't know. What I do know is the head coach of that football team is coaching again. So I think we need to really look at the fact that, look, if a coach gets fired because they interfered with medical decisions or because somebody had a catastrophic event, capitalism dictates they're going to get a coaching job. But if somebody dies on an athletic trainer's watch, that haunts them mentally, emotionally, professionally. I don't care if it's your fault or not. You're always going to feel that. Thank God I've never had it happen to me. And some of you may unfortunately have. And in 2024, when we've had all these catastrophic events, especially in the last 2-3 years, why we're not listening to the medical professionals to make the decisions, I don't know. And I understand this took place in 2019 and before. But the fact that I guarantee this still happens. I guarantee it, 100%. And I'm not trying to offend anybody or call anybody out, but what I'm saying is athletic trainers' job is to make medical decisions under the guidance of their team physician. If we screw up, we screw up. But the fact that there's pressure being put on by a coach or holds, I've heard stories of coaches holding athletic trainers' jobs over their heads if they don't make certain decisions. And that's a problem. That's a problem. And if you don't think it is, you're part of the problem. Sorry, but you are. This fires me up. Those of you who sat with me on ICSM, you know how much this fires me up. I've known people who lost their positions because a coach brought in their own athletic trainer. And the athletic trainer reported to the coach. Who do you think that athletic trainer is loyal to? Who got them a big-time job? Now, I would hope that it would be the student athlete, and they would say, man, I know we're friends. I know you brought me in here, but darn it, I got a job to do. I hope that's the case. But human nature dictates otherwise. So yeah, I'm sorry, I'm a little pessimistic. I just, feel free to comment. I'd happy to have a genuine discussion about this. But I can't get over the fact that what are we doing? If we really want to know why people are leaving the profession, this has to be part of the conversation. If people are leaving college athletics for other settings, this has to be part of the conversation. Because I can promise you that working PRN at the purest level of what we're doing, and that is to protect the health and safety of the student athlete. I feel like working PRN is the purest form of that because that's the only reason we're there. We have no allegiance to either team. We're just there. We're there at a tournament along with a bunch of our other colleagues to make sure everybody stays as healthy as possible and to get them the care that they need. And yes, that's only one bucket. It's one pillar of athletic training. But man, if you want to break it down to the purest form of this profession, there it is. And you know how many times I've had a coach balk at a medical decision I've made during a PRN event or a tournament? Zero. Does it matter to them if they win? In some cases, I'm sure it does. Some of these coaches are getting paid by these clubs and stuff. I guarantee it. Yeah, it raises the profile. Yeah, the kid needs to play. But zero times has a coach or a parent actually been angry with the medical decision I've made, because they actually, most of the time, they get it. I'm sure some are not that lucky. I'm sure some people out there are going to say, well, I have. That's great. I'm sorry that happened. But there's such a huge difference between college athletics and youth sports. And I get that it's the money, but it's the money. And these coaches and these players and these teams and these events are paying a lot of money to be there. They're not making money, they're paying money. So you might as well go win if you're going to pay the money. But at the end of the day, it should not make a difference what the setting is. It should not make a difference what the level is. Coaches making medical decisions leads to bad things, period. And you cannot dispute that. Not every decision an athletic trainer or physician makes is going to be correct. That's just the nature of the beast. Mistakes happen, unfortunately. It's unfortunate. But we do the best we can with the information that we have. And we do the best we can with the information we have to protect the health and safety of the student athlete. And when that is infringed upon, that's why people leave. Why? Because we start thinking, why are we even here? Start thinking, why are we even here? Because if it's not for the health and safety of the student athlete, and it's not to get people better from a health standpoint, because we're not making the decision anyway, but ultimately the onus falls on us if something bad happens. Why are we even here? And that's a question we need to be asking ourselves as far from a professional standpoint. Thank you, everyone, for listening and indulging me. I appreciate it. We'll get back to injury talk next week. Man, I really feel like this needed to be covered, and I'm excited to see where this goes. I want all the facts to come out. I hope this didn't happen. I hope that not all of this is just he said, she said. I hope that there was no actual influence being put forth by Coach Franklin. I hope. But if you're a coach listening to this, you really need to think about, I'm telling you, you need to think about, if you're going to hire an athletic trainer or you're going to have an athletic trainer on site, I don't care if you like them or not. I don't care if you like their decisions or not. They're there to do a job, and that's to protect your players. Period. Whether it's conditioning or whether it's a game or a practice or whatever, it doesn't matter. You hire sports medicine professionals to do that. Sports medicine. You hire coaches to coach. You hire strength coaches to train. You hire nutritionists to deal with nutrition. You hire mental health professionals to deal with mental health side of things. When it all works together, it works great. And I've been in some situations where it works great. But when you have one person who wants to dictate everything, it doesn't work. And that's when people leave. I hope everybody has a fantastic weekend. Thank you for joining us. Again, thank you very much to our sponsors, Firefly Recovery, BSN Essity, our newest sponsor, Sway Medical. And man, it's always an adventure when we jump on here. So I really appreciate it for everybody. And if you're an adventurer like me, make sure you check out Land Pirate. Land Pirate's the ultimate destination for adventurous, high quality apparel. Not only do you find unique, bold clothing for your urban and outdoor adventures, but also they also make a difference in the world. Did you know Land Pirate actually donates 10% of all their sales to charity, aiming to empower individuals while forging a path to a better future for all? Check out landpirates.com at the link in the description. Check that out. And you can use promo code DAT Girl Dad, all caps, one word, DATGIRLDAD, to receive an additional 15% off discount on your next purchase. Make sure you unleash your inner explorer at Land Pirate. Thank you, everyone, again. I appreciate it. And I look forward to speaking to you all next week. Take care.